Wassail Beautiful People. So, we're going to have a look at the Via Combustor. We did this last year when I was in Faro. And it's quite a significant one this year because it's the first one in the great mutated air epoch frequency. And what is the Via Combustor? It used to be used in orrery, which is when you use astrology to predict events. But there is a frequency that I use in the sound healing where you need to observe where things are in the solar system. And I've got yesterday's chart just to bring up again. And what I want you to observe is this. Over here, Mars. Mars is totally separate from all the rest of what's going on in the cosmos for the time being. And this frequency will be leading up all the way into the eclipse tunnel. But what's fascinating about this is although Mars looks alone, Mercury is about to come round and the Sun as the Earth moves. And they will all slot into Libra and then Scorpio. So they're in Libra at the moment, but there's some of them are in Scorpio, but they're about to create this energy where from our view on Earth, there's going to be a little stellium created briefly inside Scorpio. And that means a very powerful transformation. Also, the moon will go conjunct, and there's a lot of double conjunctions coming up, which we'll look at another time. But the moon will go conjunct, the moon being the third eye, intuition. It will first of all go conjunct with Mercury on the 3rd, but this will be at 26 degrees of Libra, as I said, starting in Libra. But at some point on the 5th, which is where we're sort of moving this energy forwards, that's when the stellium begins. That's when Mercury will move from that 26 degrees of Libra on the 3rd into 0 degrees. So the moon will pass in front, and it's an A and a G. I just want you to hear what an A and a G sounds like. So this is the moon. And that's Mercury, A and G sharp. And there, whenever you get a semitone, it's like a blade. It's like it comes in, and it's a bit like that Wickercraft rune, where the energy starts to vibrate so that you can split something up and pass something through. So, the moon will then, on the 4th, the following day, the moon will also conjunct Mars. Now, I've just said that Mars seems to be all alone, but when we get to this point, it's like the energy of how we view the houses, the zodiac from Earth, will create this sense that Mars is part of this energy frequency that's going on. So now we've suddenly got C and A. Which is a minor third. It's got a real kind of harmonious moment. So it's going from... It opens out into something much, much softer. And that's going to be on the 4th of November. 12 hours later, we get the new moon. And suddenly, we're moving to E and A. So we've gone... So there's that real sense of a harmonious transformation, but we've got to drive through that mercurial Loki frequency at the beginning. So let's have a look at this in terms of each of those individual conjunctions, and then we're going to be going and shifting to the 9th when there's a really fascinating change of frequency that's coming, but we'll move on to that in a moment. Let's begin. Let's just pop that down there. Let's begin with the moon. and Mercury. So we need a card for the moon and a card for Mercury, and then we need to ask what's the energy between them. And there's not much room for that energy. So, oh, bells. We do love Neptune's bells. My bells are D sharp E flat. Someone asked that question. I haven't yet replied to it, but I'm just popping that in now. I will reply. But I've been knee deep in astrology, honing this information down to the exact minute. So let's have Neptune. They were so incredibly even. Just the first one had a little kind of a stumble moment, but that's because this first conjunction is quite close, quite blade-like. So, can we please have... Oh, let's rifle them again. There's such beautiful, different bird sounds here. Keep your fingers crossed for a hummingbird to turn up. They're supposed to turn up in this garden. Maybe they'll come when we get to the last part, because that's all about hummingbird frequencies, the 9th. And out-of-body experiences. That's the other thing that we need to mention, the out-of-body experience notion. Mars is separate from the whole of the universe, or the rest of the planets. I mustn't keep saying universe, the solar system. But all of the rest of the solar system are bunched in one half. Mars is all the way out on its own, with Mercury slowly coming round in that direction to overtake, to conjunct. But the conjunction of Mars and isn't till the 10th of November, and that's the day after this magic. Anyway, we'll get to that. But the point is, it's like our molecules are being removed from the equation of everything. And so it's giving us a chance to really focus on a sort of out-of-body spiritual experience. So the moon, it's the moon. It's like, the third eye is like, what do you expect me to be? What card did you think I would be other than the moon? And then the card that we have for Mercury, oh, now that is interesting, is the hermetically sealed earth. And it's a blade. We've got, oh, look, 3736. There's a backward energy being set up. A review. And we've got that sense. This kind of energy here, this half-formed energy, is not fully formed yet. It's something that's coming down, and it's almost like it's the energy that will slide in and pop the bubble. I feel as though they're saying to me, it takes another full moon cycle. It's something, this is something to do with, this is a set-up frequency to cut space in the Via Combustor, this period. Look, the Via Combustor is an energy, as I said, that's 15 degrees Libra to 15 degrees of Scorpio. And Mercury enters the Via Combustor on the 26th of October. So there will be that energy of this building as it heads into November. And remember that the new moon is on the 4th. And that's the new moon in Scorpio. And that's actually at 12 degrees. So it's almost at the end of the traditional Via Combustor. But for me, this Via Combustor goes right through until we move into Sagittarius season on the 22nd. And remember that the full moon 2-3 days before that is the start of the eclipse tunnel. It's a lunar eclipse. So there's a lot of really big energies, but they're exciting energies. There's very much, it's got very beautiful frequencies coming to it. So let's now look at this energy popping the bubble that's building. There's a real sense, there's two wonderful swirls at the base of this card, and they're showing me those as the frequency between Oh, you see. Sometimes when you're outdoors and there's more light, you see things in the cards that you don't see indoors. The Earth's roots are dry. The Earth's roots are drying out. They're in desperate need of water. They're in need of water, Phoenix. They haven't been washed or cleansed. They haven't been reviewed for a long period of time. And we've got on this card, it's very difficult to see, but there, just here, there is the moon phase moving through, echoing this energy of the lunar cycle. And it is eclipse. It is the eclipse tunnel. And we have got the sun and the moon in part of this, but it's not actually eclipsing yet. They're not at the perfect moment to create that energy. So let's see what's the magic going on between the moon and Mercury, which is conjunct on the third Wednesday, the 3rd of November, at 26 degrees and 39 minutes. I don't usually put the minutes in, but I want you to understand that that's the exact point, and that's at 19:27 or 7:27 p.m. GMT UTC. You have to work out the time difference, but we do this on universal time because we're dealing with universal issues. So, what's going on then, please, between the moon at A and Mercury at G sharp? What's going on, please? Right, that's nice. I like it when there's just a single card. What's going on? Everything. Inside the space between that A and the G sharp, that blade, it's like I'm being shown a whole series of runic energies twisting, unfolding, wings opening, lines directly between the cosmos and the earth. The weird rune is that notion. Look, Weirdhamir for me is where the Norns live. And the Norns live at the base of the Yggdrasil tree, and every day they bring water from the well and they wash and they nourish the roots of the Yggdrasil tree so that the Yggdrasil tree can grow. Our roots, the world's roots at the moment, are dry. It's interesting because I've been reading today about how lots of very large corporations have started to drill into the earth, into the crust of the land, and they're sucking water out to use for industries that's drying out the aquifers of the land. We're actually sucking the life out of the water table. So that's an interesting energy. So the weird rune, I feel like I need a couple of runes on that. I wouldn't normally, but because it's a weird rune, the all rune, all the magic contained within that space between the moon and Mercury. What are the main features of this weird rune? What are we looking to unfold from that magic? What are we looking to draw up? Oh, to our sacral, because that's what's coming on the 9th. What are the nutrients? What are the nutrients we're looking at? What are the nutrients we're looking at? We've got horse, 19. And this is about plugging in. You can see that this is the framework of the weird rune. You can see this is the same as this. So we have the framework, but there's nothing down here. There's a gap. We somehow need to draw in this line. The line of Ether is the frequency of life, or it's the first stroke, the connection from the galactic center of the universe, the veil through which in Sagittarius. There's a reconnect in Sagittarius during the eclipse tunnel, because the eclipse tunnel starts with the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and then the solar eclipse will be in Sagittarius. There's a lot to unfold in that tunnel, but we have to water the world. And then we have, we had this yesterday, 28. It's very interesting. 19 and 28, they're both tens, completions and new beginnings. This is this is the world serpent. So we're now beginning to get, you can see from, the destiny is somewhere in the eclipse tunnel, in the Janus Sagittarius, in this tunnel that will have the Janus frequency of observing and looking, but we're getting also the beginnings of the destiny point. And then you can put this energy over the top of here. It's a growing frequency, it's a changing frequency, it's a moving frequency, but it's a destination that we can't avoid. It's inevitable. So let's just pop on a few of these, because I do love the tales that these Motherpeace round cards bring to us. They're introducing really fascinating stories that have a new kind of energetic frequency, which is really very lovely. So we have one. Oh, we got another one that's gone that way. I want to say that this is the parting of the ways, the change of frequency. Oh, look, the Son of Wands. So Mercury is very air frequency. The next part of this conjunction, the next point of this journey to the destiny, is part of this stellium build-up. So the energy is being opened, it's being cut in to split open, so that the Son of Wands, the Son of Fire, very much Mercury, Mars energy. You can see the pit, the creation of fire, is being brought in, and then it will move on to the Sun for the new moon in Scorpio. So it's literally saying that this frequency is about bringing a unifying energy, a celebratory energy. We often, the Via Combustor is often seen as some kind of evil pathway. It was particularly a space where if it appeared on your chart, you were considered to be evil. And it gives, that whole energy of the Scorpio season, kind of dark crap. But the whole point of Scorpio season is it's a wonderfully invigorating energy of learning to really let go and to grow. It's kind of, it's like being given permission right through to the end of the year to just enjoy life, to celebrate living, and to not hold with the energy of worries. Both of these cards are setting up the energies of celebration, of creativity, of people coming together, of space being made, rattling space, reaching high for things. The energy of polarity, which will be the zebras representing the kind of frequency within. That was so weird. I just saw an orb over there. I don't usually see them in the real world, but an orb just appeared down there. So the energy of the zebra being the Janus Sagittarius, as we're going to be calling it. So that's the frequency of Mercury. So I'm going to pull all of the Mercury cards in. I'm keeping the weird rune at the top. I'm going to pop those over there. So now we're moving on to the conjunction on the 4th of November between the Moon and Mars. Okay, between Moon and Mars. So This will take place at 3 degrees of Scorpio, and it will be at 5:56 in the morning, GMT UTC. So I'm going to call for some new cards on the moon and Mars. I know this time the moon can't be the moon because I've left the moon card out. So let's see what aspects the moon is bringing and the aspects that Mars is bringing. Because Mars to me is really bringing us this ability to step outside of our bodies. And remember, this is the day that we're also 12 hours or so later, we're going to have the new moon in Scorpio. So we have a card face down for the moon, and we now want one. There's one. That's really interesting. So the moon, is the sorcerer. The moon is the magic. And we know that because the moon is the fastest moving body. It works on our emotions. It pulls the seas. It moves all water. There's water inside all life. And it's the Akashic records being moved around and shifted. And so this is about bringing a kind of magical energy that will unfold this. But first of all, the space has to be made. Mars is it. The moon is bringing to Mars the ability to have that magical out-of-body experience at 3 degrees. This is 12 frequency. It's about taking the moon is going to come in as a kind of static energy to pull, to remove us, to remove our consciousness from our body so that we can have this spiritual out-of-body experience. And Mars has got, I always call this energy Pluto. It's the giveaway. It's like Pluto, Mars will let go. Mars will stop holding on to our life force and allow us to kind of slip out through meditation, through dream space. But this is on the 4th of November, this magical frequency. Pluto energy, Pluto rules Scorpio, so Mars is really working to kind of bring the fire, the passion, to separate water from fire. That's interesting, to separate the water from the fire, but also from the earth. There's no sense here of air. There's no sense of overthinking. There's no sense of editing. This is a space on the 4th, and look, it begins at 5:56, and it goes, the new moon comes in at 9:15 in the evening. So that's a long period of time taking place. And then the following day is when the fullness of the stellium begins. But this is the setup to make that space. So what's in that space? Let's have a look at what's in the space. What's in the space, please? The sorcerer and Mars. The sorcerer and Mars. The sorcerer and Mars. The sorcerer and Mars. Oh, it's so fascinating. The sorcerer and Mars. We've got the Bifrost, the Bilrost, the home, the journey home, the Hemferald. So this is Mars and the moon creating the energetic zebra energy that I talked about to open a wonderful space, a polarity that's like anchored so that you can float between the spaces from the energy of Mars, and you can float all the way across to be alone with the moon. It's almost like the moon will unveil itself. It's interesting because in Norse mythology, the moon is male. I was just thinking, why have we got this male energy rushing in? but it is because in Norse mythology it's male. The sun is the female. Be interesting to see what the sun brings. And so we've got this anchoring, this space, this polarity, this kind of wonderful, magical, soupy void of fluidity of emotions, and it's time to harvest in that space. Look, on the midway point between this rainbow sparkling bridge of magic that will be held open for over 24 hours, it might be held open for the entire period to the... I don't know. I'm not being told that yet. Let's see whether that comes out later. That sounded very much like a door being shut on it. So, we have the Ginnunga gap. We have life force, ice, Ether. We have the Ginnunga gap. We have another part of this space being created. This is the interesting one because this is not so easily found. It's hidden in small inside, but this is something way bigger cosmically. This is like holding open a frequency of safety, a beautiful safety net, like a tightrope, but you're not going to fall off it. That's the point. It's a bridge. It's a sparkling, magical frequency. So let's put some Motherpeace on this. It's about harvesting a new spiritual understanding. Oh, look, that's what they want me to show you. It's 12-12. So we've got 48, which is 12, and we've got the harvest, which is 12. It's about creating something incredibly static, almost like a pathway, so that you can walk down, you can go to the moon, you can open the curtains on the moon will let you in, and the moon will gift you. And then you can walk with all your new gifts safely back. It's like a pause moment in this wonderful Via Combustor frequency. So, can you give us a little bit more information, please? So, this card comes out a lot, but it's a beautiful card. This energy, this moon, is a bridge, not just to your moon, but past, through the eclipse tunnel, to connect to your higher self. So it's almost like going in this period to meet your higher self. This new moon will introduce you to your higher self in a much more comfortable way. It's making a more solid connection for you to kind of go in and dig into the void and find out all the stuff that's hidden. This is the card, this Daughter of Discs, that for me represents the space of your higher self. And it's got in it this cave. That's almost like the galactic center of the universe. And you've made space, your higher self, in which to live. This is the realm of the unwritten. It's discs. It's a world above this world. It's a space above this space. There's a sense of a need to have a ceremony. You see, I want to say a peace pipe, a white buffalo woman. There's some kind of connection going on with, you've got to make peace with yourself in this period to prepare yourself for the journey that you're going to go on through this Iana Sagittarius that's coming. And this is the preparation. 488. That's interesting. 488. 1880, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's about a pathway. Again, it creates a pathway. Look, this is you in angelic Sagittarius mode. This is, it's almost like it's Chiron frequency. It's like it's saying that you're going to be like, there's 8 tasks of change that takes place in the eclipse. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7, and when you've completed the 7, you then have a new aim, a new arrow, a new flame to aim through the tunnel towards what comes out in the solar eclipse. So that's that one. Let's keep moon. Let's pop those ones down. I'm going to put Mars on the bottom just so that I can keep them separate. Now we're going to move on to the new moon. Now the new moon takes place on the 4th of November at 12 degrees and 40 minutes exactly. And that's in Scorpio, and that's at 21:15. It's almost like in the traditional energy of the Via Combustor, you're almost out of the tunnel. But as I say, I feel like this energy is more for the entirety of Scorpio season, because we're going to get to the stellium in just a second. So here we have the A and the E. This is perfect 4th, perfect 5th. This is the moon passing in front of the sun. And this is almost like a textbook preparation for the solar eclipse. That's interesting. So, let's have 2 cards for the moon and the sun. So what would the moon like to say about the new moon? How is it feeling as a new moon? How is it feeling as a new moon? We have the child. There's a lot of moons on that. And the sun, we have the serpent. So the moon is bringing us the child. I feel like that backward motion that we sensed at the beginning, that energy from 37 to 36, is about going back to review. There's something that's gender fluid about the energy of this child. Sometimes it looks feminine, sometimes it looks masculine. I think it's about going back to the point in our childhood where society defined us as a sex. And that's really interesting, because when I was a child, I didn't like the games the boys played. They were violent and they were boring. And I liked the games that girls played. And as a child, I thought I wished I had been born a girl. As an adult, I'm quite happy to be male, but to understand that I am a balance of both masculine and feminine. There's something about this bringing an energy together that's going to be reopened. It's like a point to focus our energy on the 2 snakes. The 2 snakes are the energy of the earth snake and the energy of the cosmic snake that join together to create life. So it's like Isis and Osiris in the underworld weaving together to create Horus, the child. And that's, we're entering the age of Aquarius in Egyptian is often referred to as the age of Horus. It's the age of the luminous warrior, the grown-up, emotionally stable child. But you can't do that if you keep gendering yourself, because by gendering yourself, you're stunting your ability to be in your full power. We all have to acknowledge that we are both yin and yang. We are both masculine and feminine. We are both the vessel, Mars, and we are the emotions, which we're going to get onto shortly. As in the sacral, the third eye, and the heart. the higher heart, though. This is not an energy at the moment about the natural world. This is an energy about the spiritual world, and we need to be quite clear about that. So what's between, it's like the age of Horus, the sun and the moon. It's you see, the interesting thing is we've gone into a conjunction, but this conjunction is a much wider frequency. It's got wider with each one. It's gone from the semitone to the minor third to the energy of being a perfect fourth, which is the cosmically significant interval of the world. Fourths and fifths are perfect, and they ride next to each other like the energy of two snakes, two sound frequencies moving in parallel, and they have the space in between that's not knocking. They just come forwards as a really clean energy. Sixths and thirds, they're harmonious. They are harmonious, but they have a wobbling frequency. They have an energy that kind of very slightly wants to knock into each other. So this is, at this point, we're opening clarity to see something new about ourselves. This out-of-body spiritual experience, walking down the fiery path. But I want to say that this Via Combustor is more like some kind of rainbow sparkling safety path. It's the Bilrost, it's the home journey, and it's entering in to collect something from the moon. And maybe it's to collect ourselves. Ah, that's interesting. We're collecting emotions, new emotions, fresh emotions from the moon. We have Ing, and this is 22. We're connecting with ourself, with our higher self, so that we can bring nourishment down to those dry roots, everybody's dry roots, so that we can water the roots to bring blooms and flowers to this water meadow of the sacral. That's a really beautiful energy. It's a lantern. It's a light in the darkness. It's a something that's showing us the way home, like a lighthouse, like a pharos. And then so beautiful. 26. So 2226, which is 6 and 6. It's a 12. We're back on that 12 frequency. This moment is a structured static energy to water our personal Yggdrasil tree. And by watering our personal Yggdrasil tree, we're all watering the collective, the tree that was trapped, the bubble that was waiting to be burst at the end of the eclipse. So we have the 5 of discs and we have the 10 of discs. What is it in your life that you do over and over and over again that keeps you separated from the world, the collective, others? What are your particular habits, actions, things that define you that you don't need to cling to in such the same way? You have to remold yourself. This is what you're looking for in this frequency, in this transformative energy, where the moon is going to offer you new emotions to water your personal Yggdrasil tree. What are the things that you need to change? What are those? And it is, they're saying it's these 7 things that you change to create a new flame to aim into your future. There's masses of butterflies turning up now as we're getting onto that energy of transformation. And then the 10 of discs is to come into the community, to be rebirthed. It is that energy of the eclipse tunnel, this new moon, the new moon that will take place, that will be the solar eclipse. And it is this big yellow sunshine Again, coming back, we're all coming back together, but we've got to have this moment that's part of this stellium, the stellium in Scorpio. So I'm going to look now at the actual frequency of the stellium. So the stellium itself begins when Mercury finally enters Scorpio at 0 degrees on the 5th of November at 22:35 p.m. or 10:35 p.m. GMT UTC, and that will create Mercury at 0 degrees, Mars at 4 degrees. The Sun will then be at 13 degrees, unblocking this static. Now I see. So this moment doesn't hold open. You've got to go and get your emotions. You've got to have this outer body experience. This bridge will stay open so that the Sun can shift everything forwards into that creative space. And that's when you need to start to move and transform. Chrysalis frequency. The Moon is almost out. It's at 28 degrees. It doesn't move into Sagittarius until 53 minutes past midnight GMT UTC on the 6th of November. So it means there's 2 hours and 18 minutes of a kind of... it's still an outer body experience, but somehow there's something about it that's creating space for some kind magic. I was going to say some kind of shamanic magic that you need to do, a new magical truth that will be personal to each of us, but a segment of the jigsaw of the greater whole, because Geffen is the truth coming to in a collective. So can you tell us something about this stellium, this moment of the stellium at 25 minutes to 11 on the 5th of November GMT until 53 minutes to 1 on the 6th? What would you like to say about this stellium, this 4-planet transformative magical moment? She just won't go away. It's about the roots of the Yggdrasil tree. It's about returning the light to your roots. It's not about going down there and being all miserable in the shadows. This is about going down there and just watering with new emotions, having a sense of direction forwards, having the sense of Hemfereld, the homeward journey. So, Sol, the eclipse will bring prosperity. This is the beginning of that transformative energy. The Sun is moving us towards a new beginning. Fair. And that's dear. See, look, I didn't look at that before. I said I was going to look at the energy. The child had that energy of gender fluidity, but there was a sense with the feminine energy of the Sun. But here, this is definitely the Sun acting in a spiritual way, bringing a renewed beginning. Schwarzando, it's something really crashingly loud. It's like a shock. It's a new beginning, prosperity. It's like being given that outer body experience, and then as we come out of the eclipse tunnel, it's like bang, everything comes back together, and it's that musical moment where you can't accent the frequency enough. So let's pop some runes on the stellium. Can you please explain this stellium frequency? Watering the roots, nourishing the roots, bringing the light out of the roots, bringing the light out of the shadows. You can't bring the light out of the shadows unless you're willing to bring new emotions to your shadows. You've got to... It's not... that's so interesting. Sorry. It's the cards have fallen. It's got Birthright, and it made me look at the base of the deck. This is a birthright. This is that that moment in destiny that we're all heading to. It's an inevitability. So the runes are so beautiful. So it's our birthright, 23. We're getting a lot of 2s. We've had 2-2, 2-6, 2-3. And we've got this energy of the moon, Wendhorn, being unbound. Being unbound. The energy of the original earth, this hermetically sealed bubble with the roots screaming for nutrients to change the frequency of the earth, being unbound. We're all becoming something. We're transforming. And then we have Fear, 30, fire, aether, life. This is a new energy. We're being unbound from the old to be born again in this Via Combustor going into the eclipse. That's the important part, is that we've got to go right the way through into the eclipse frequency. So I'm going to pull all of those cards back now because I want us to move on to this other frequency that's coming up that I needed to bring into this video, which is on the 9th. No, the 8th. That was naughty of me. Don't need to confuse you. It's on the 8th, and it's a moment in heliocentric sound healing energies where I look at the planets and their energetic placement and relationship to each other. That teaches us things about how the body is coming into alignments or into misalignments. But this is a really beautiful and rare alignment, and it's very much along the lines of this. It's why I think this energy frequency, this homeward journey, is extending right the way through to the end of the eclipse tunnel, regardless of what came through earlier. I'm just getting that sense that it's much more powerful. So what's happening? I'm just going to show you this image again. So you can see here the earth. These energies will be gone, but what will happen is Ceres, the earth, will have moved a little bit further round, and you will get Venus, the moon, earth and Ceres in a complete lineup, in a tight energy, bringing in a frequency of D major, which, to have a perfect chord, D major is a deeply romantic, emotionally rich energy, and it's the third eye, Venus, the higher heart, and the sacral, luminous warrior. It's like a frequency of being, understanding. It's a very powerful energy. So let's just finish putting all these cards back, and then we'll have a look. I'll draw the things. I also need to put the keyboard back on so that we can hear the D major chord. So D of the sacral, F sharp, and actually the way the lineup will happen will be the F sharp of Venus, and just below Venus is Jupiter. Now very direct, very powerful, very much magnifying, amplifying this frequency. So you have the F sharp of Venus, the higher heart, where we love others. And then that energy will be transferred to the moon. So from our heart to an understanding within the moon. And then that energy will pass through the earth, through our molecules. Remember, it's wiring that energy into the earth. And then it's going to transfer itself to the D of the sacral, the seat of the soul. Let's have a little bit of water while the dogs bark. So, the moon, the sacral and Venus. So this is what we're dealing with. The higher heart, the sacral, the seat of the soul, and the third eye. So, let's ask about those energies. I'm going to play you the chord again. It's so difficult with this keyboard because it's flat. It's a beautiful energy. And there's some part of it that feels as though it's a seventh, because I feel like, sorry, yeah, because the molecules of the earth will vibrate to the sea. And the tree's throwing things at me now. So let's go into Venus. I can turn that back off again now. Move it out of the way. So Venus, that's a nice split. Time Master and Corn. So can we please have a card to explain on the 8th? Oh, you see now, that 8. That 8 of Wands, I think it's connected to that. I don't think it is. They're saying to me it's connected to this. This is the day that you work out the flame aim. You come into an alignment with yourself in a way that you haven't before, and you'll understand things about the seat of your soul, your personal Yggdrasil tree. So Venus, letting go of emotions. And then we have the moon. Then we have the moon. What's the moon got in this equation? They're saying to me there's something to do with, there's a conjunction coming between Venus and Pluto. Don't ask me when it is. I have got it down because it's part of my conjunctions tale that's coming. So the moon, what's the moon's energy on this day? What's the moon's energy on this day? I can't take those because it's the hunter and because they didn't fall. I want just a single card for the moon, please. A single card for the moon's influence on the 8th in this D major chord. The moon is the rainbow. It's the Bilros bridge. It's the journey back home to the sacral. That's so beautiful. And they're both 5s. They're both energies of change. This is a day of change. And I honestly, you know, I think the work is done before, but you've got to do the work in trust. And then the sacral is 11, 5 and 6. It's thunder. It's like that moment that I said that was coming at the end of the eclipse, the Sforzando. But this is part of because the stellium's taken place. It's like snapping something shut, bringing yourself back to yourself, returning to your soul somehow. I'm going to draw cards down to form a shield. So what's the energy between Venus and the Moon? We have one. What's the energy between the Moon and Ceres? What's their transformative energy? So Venus and the Moon are taming the wind. Oh, it's 5555. It's change, 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 change within us. 5555. And then here, it's changing to shoot the arrow. The arrow is pointing as a direction. 556, 789. You've got to sort of work out your direction. This is the day of coming into yourself so that you have the energy understanding, the frequency understanding, to head towards the eclipse tunnels, knowing the direction that you wish to head in. So if you tame your wind, if you stop the turbulence on this day, if you come into yourself, it's gone very dark and cloudy suddenly, and you know your direction to pierce your sacral and to bring the sacral energy back up somehow through your crown to the galactic center of the universe, you're preparing to thread a new needle from your sacral all the way through your heart, your third eye, out of your crown, and back up along that bifrost, that rainbow bridge that the moon is creating to the galactic center, to take your consciousness back to source and connect with your higher self. So what's the final frequency then of this shield? The ancient ones. This is your higher self. It's an energy so much more ancient. You're as ancient as it. But the thing is that in this linear time cycle, you're as young as you are. You're not able to remember the energy of your ancient ones. So, this is a day for reconnecting with your higher self. Down in the, interesting, this circle down here, this sacral orb has the roots in it. It's reconnecting to your cosmic roots. Reconnecting to your cosmic roots. I'm just going to put some, I think I do need to just put some Odin on here, because we've got Yggdrasil energy again. Then I'm going to add some of the Raw Runes. Can you explain some more to do with this 8th of the 11th? We've got Fet again. This beginning. It's almost it's that notion of the F sharp, Fe, the higher heart, the spiritual understanding. The moon is coming with William Vey, getting your world back, your personal world back. On that day, there's a sense of being able to understand your own personal world. And then Logir, I mean, that is the sacral. To be back in the womb and to be at peace with yourself. It's like pulling your, threading all the way up to your higher self, and that thread will put your higher self into your belly, into your gut instincts. Let's complete the shield over this one. I think it's like we're doing a 3-layer shield. So I just need to get that card. It's gone a bit far away, but it's returning again. This is all part of a linked energy, this stellium, and then this day of coming into yourself, refinding yourself, finding your birthright. Venus and the moon are bringing the birthright. The moon and the sacral are bringing a brand new day. It's all about a reset, an energetic reset. You've gone outside of your body. Mars has left so that you can deal with these emotional moments. And what's the energy that goes with the ancient ones? What's the energy to go with the ancient ones? It's Jormungandr. It's the destiny point. It's a natural destiny point. It's an ancient thread. The snake is the thread that wraps around the whole world. The snake, the Jormungandr, is the energy. It's hell's brother working with you to connect you to your destiny. But so beautiful. So let's have the rune shield. I think really they're trying to say that it's important to just get these dates in your diary and prepare yourself, make yourself some ceremonies to celebrate you, your transformations, your changes. I mean, if your birthday's on the 8th, what a beautiful day to reconnect to yourself. Just imagine you'll have a fascinating solar return that day. So, I mean, I might as well just stop. It's just trying to say, this is a point of new beginnings. It's a divine new beginning. 18. So what do we have? That was for the heart is starting a new beginning. That's too many. Can't do those. Take 2 because it will be the top row. The moon is bringing divine spark. 6. That's a division of 3. 6 and 6 is 12 is 18. And you're being unbound. Wendhorn. This is a day of tensions dissolving. It's interesting. We have the past and the future. We have towardness and swelgeness. The past is somehow caught in your soul, in your sacral, and is being swirled around. This is a greater length and depth of the energy of the All Rune. It's becoming much clearer, and we're adding, as the part of the protection shield, we're adding ice to grip onto a new energy, it's so strange how this is, in most runes, it's about not letting go. And yet the more and more I encounter this rune, it's the reverse. It's about gripping life. It's about being alive. It's about living and being excited by life. So I'm going to ask for not a shield. I don't need another shield. I just want a little message from these. It's clearing out the past and the future. It's just coming into yourself so that you're literally in the now and you're alive. It's just the sun. It's the energies are returning. This is a beautiful moment of the eclipse energy coming towards us. It's a healing, the 4 of Swords. This date is a healing moment and an alignment moment. I'm seeing this energy of the alignment of all the frequencies behind you. And in sound healing, the frequencies are behind you and they travel through you. The sun is about celebrating life, celebrating you, celebrating others. And then we have the Chariot, and it's really about coming home to yourself. Your own Yggdrasil tree is now under the sky of your own emotions, rather than it being under the sky of someone else's control. I'm being very much drawn on the side of the Chariot to the Medusa head, and that being very much the energy again of this snake wrangling goddess that keeps turning up. So can we have one more card, please, on that? I'm not going to take this one on my hand as such, but it's a new beginning. It's you celebrating your own life. The sun coming out on your holy mountain. It's got divine timing in it. It's got an alligator, something that waited forever. We've all waited forever for this moment. It has the two parts of your soul. It has a vulture waiting to pick up all the stuff that you no longer require, those 7 arrows that you're going to change, so that you can use them as fertilizer to nourish the roots of your personal Yggdrasil tree and the Yggdrasil tree of the collective. And then the one that's on my hand is kind of an energy outside of us. It's the Son of Cups. It's a new melody, a new cosmic egg that's opening. It's an air and a water egg. An air and a water egg with a new tune that comes out. Air and water. Why would we have air and water? I guess when we go through into February and March, as we move, because we've already, I mean, it could be that it's, but we're past that. I'm sorry, I'm thinking that we're past the energy of Libra into Scorpio. So the energy must be that the egg fully hatches when we get into Aquarius, moving into Pisces. I guess that's true because the frequency of Pisces increases as Jupiter moves in on the 29th. So just to end, we're going to these cards because they will give us additional planetary links. So please, a final message. A final message, please. A final message. Okay, Prince of Cups. And Princess of Swords. Air and water. I feel like it's the other way around now. It's water into air, but I feel very much like this is diving deep into these wonderful new emotions that are coming in this Scorpio season. It's very, very beautiful. It's being directed by air. It's being driven, thoughts by air, and the chariot itself, this chariot that we saw just now, is taking us deep into the emotions. And there's a brand new, I'm seeing this water snake as part of that energy of the moon offering you emotions to water your Yggdrasil tree. It's almost like you've got to drown in new emotions. You've got to celebrate. It's water phoenix. The water phoenix will rise to take you deep below. And then Ninlil, she recreates a space for life. So she's going to be holding that space, pulling that space back in, refining that space as we move towards Aquarius season. And there's some very big energies coming when the sun gets around there. So this egg that will be coming in Aquarius season, this cosmic gift, it's saying it takes place from now, Libra, right the way around to Saturn coming, the sun reaching where Saturn is. And Saturn is in Aquarius. We're being drawn to Aquarius as being the point at which the movement of our journey, it's interesting, we've got the 3 and the 5. So we've got Venus in Aquarius and then Saturn being in Aquarius, but we've got to observe Saturn's energy from now, and it's taking it's overriding all this energy. It's air bringing in a sense of seeing the futility of worry, of old emotions. There's no point to clinging to those old emotions. We have to move forwards from them, and we have to bring ourselves into an alignment. 8 swords are an incredible energy of freedom, because swords and air are the dominant frequency. So I'm going to the shamanics for the final word, and it really is an energy of how this year is a new beginning into 2022. So what's the final message on this Via Combustor rebirth? It's the final message on this Via Combustor rebirth. It's Wind of Change, it's 63, and the first card we had was 36. We're moving through an energy of turning everything around, transforming everything around us. The air frequency is coming in, and the other card, it's returning us to this energy of the child. It's really beautiful. It's like I kind of want to say it's like having your innocence returned, but it's innocence with wisdom, and that's the big difference. It's about understanding sorry, they're just trying to say to me, I need to remember to look up a date later. It's not important right now. Returning to balance, coming back into a wisdom. It's like this energy is Libra frequency transforming us. Remember, once we go through the 21st of December, the December solstice, we're in that energy that we've already been in, because that's when we had the air mutation. And that's why I think a lot of this air trauma, this sense of patterned energies rotating around in our head, will be transformed to bring us into a better understanding of our yin and our yang, our molecules. It's the return almost. Oh, let me just look. It's the return almost, but it's not until something like the 5th of April that Mars hits the stellium tear, sorry. But there's something about this being, it's almost like being carried past this energy, just floating towards this transformation. I'm not saying you don't have to do anything. Nothing comes through nothing. But there's a sense that we need to live a frequency and just learn to bring these new emotions. It's like not having to fear shadows. It's like coming into your own frequency so that you can enjoy living a life and letting go of all the fears and thinking that there's yet more shadow work to do. There may be more shadow work, but right now you've done so much that it's time to flow with the cosmos, because there's a cosmic gift. There's a new tune coming, a new beginning, endless energies of new beginnings, but it's about living in the now, not looking at the past and not looking at the future as we move forwards. You do that for a little bit, but there's going to come a point where you just let go of everything. Probably this 8th, when this D major chord comes, is a chance to do that. I'm not saying it's going to happen to everybody, but you do have to put in some kind of thought process through this Via Combustor to allow that energy to be like a magic carpet that will just lift you forwards. It's making me think of the card of the beloved being carried, and I'm going to do a pat trick and find out what's either side of it, because it feels like it's the final message to understand being held by spirit, the upper world, being brought through, being carried in love and enjoying life. It's so beautiful. So, spirit will carry you as the luminous warrior, the sacral frequency. That's so beautiful. And actually, if I look at the card before the owl, it's the crow, and after is the hummingbird, which is the Venus energy. So there we have spirit, moon frequency, that side. We are being carried on the earth, and you have the luminous warrior, the D frequency, and the F sharp of Venus aligning that chord. So absolutely beautiful. Anyway, that's quite a long reading. There'll be a live sound healing probably next, because it's fun. Also, I've got an extension lead now, so I don't know. We could try and do a sound healing out here. Let's see what gives. No, I need to hear what the sound's like on that microphone outdoors. Anyway, Wassail, thanks for tuning in, and I'll speak to you all again soon.